All right, let's do this. Yo, what is up, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmug TV here, aka DeLauren33. I am back here tonight with the Legit Shoot podcast, here with your Monday Night Raw review and results for 3/16 Stone Cold Steve Austin Day, March 16th, 2020. All right, I don't know how long I'm gonna go tonight. Honestly, this might be a short review. I'm not sure. We'll just have to see how long we go. Because honestly, we had Raw tonight. This was WWE's second empty arena show, their second straight show at the Performance Center. No fans in attendance, just superstars, commentators, and a couple staff. And it's weird. I'm starting to get used to it a little bit, but it's weird. All right, it's getting very tough. Like, you're getting used to having these shows without fans, but it's also just like at first at SmackDown, you're like, okay, or, you understand, but then we're doing it again tonight with Raw. It's hard to imagine this is the way it's gonna have to be, at least for the foreseeable future. This coronavirus, man, it seems like more and more people are getting it by the day. Hopefully, we can get more tests out for people. But at least for the next, at least 1-2 months, this is probably the way it's going to be. All right, we know all the major sports leagues have postponed or canceled events. The NBA, they're not, most likely not coming back till early to mid-June. NASCAR, they're not coming back till May. NHL, we don't know what's going on with them. Excuse me. What else? Golf, they've postponed all their tournaments. UFC, they tried to do event this weekend, but they finally decided that they have to postpone their events. It's just too hard for them to continue doing business that way. MLB, they're saying their season's probably not going to start till at least July at this point. Like, we are in a crazy crisis, man. Crazy. All right. But yeah, the biggest thing that happened tonight was not even on the show. All right, to be honest, if you missed Raw, you didn't miss much. There was a fantastic promo by Edge. We had Becky Lynch giving another good promo, but I'm getting tired of. I don't hate Becky Lynch. I actually like her. I just don't like the way she's booked. The last couple of months have really made me very sour on Becky Lynch, and I have a little bit of complaining to do, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I don't hate Becky Lynch, right? I actually was a big fan of Becky. But they're continuing Becky Lynch and Shayna's build. We also had a Rey Mysterio versus Andrade match that didn't even matter. I'll barely talk about that. And we had Kevin Owens. And we also had The Undertaker and AJ Styles. They had a very interesting contract signing. Plus, we had the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin. But even with all that I just said, nothing happened on this show, really. But we got to just accept that this is the way things are going to be going forward. It's weird. This is something we're all going to remember. All right? 10, 15 years down the line, God willing, we're going to remember, hey, you guys remember back in 2020 when Raw was in empty arenas? WrestleMania was at the Performance Center of all places because of the coronavirus outbreak. This is all crazy. All right? Still, it just blows my mind that we're getting this. Like, even I don't even know what to say really about it. But we're going to talk about it. First thing, I was going to make a separate video on this, but then I decided I'll just address it on the Raw review. WrestleMania is not going to be canceled. It's not going to be postponed, but WrestleMania will not be taking place in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium. It won't be happening with fans. It won't be happening without fans. All right, all the events for WrestleMania week have been postponed or canceled. Right now there's no Hall of Fame. There's no NXT Takeover Tampa. Right now, WrestleMania will not be taking place in Tampa, but it will be taking place in Florida, just a little bit down the road at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. Yes, the same place where we've been having empty arena Raws and SmackDowns. We're having an empty arena. Well, we don't know if it's going to be empty arena. WWE put a statement, a very short statement on their social media and their website, and they said, in terms of everything going around with the outbreak, WrestleMania will no longer be taking place in Tampa, but all the events have been canceled, and they will be having WrestleMania in the Performance Center. And the only people that will be there are employees, essential staff. So what I'm guessing they're going to do is they're going to have WrestleMania. It's not going to be WrestleMania. It's not going to feel like WrestleMania at all. But, there's going to be no WrestleMania on ESPN Plus. That would be an absolute outrage if they put WrestleMania on ESPN Plus, especially in this situation. No way someone going to pay $60 to see WrestleMania in the damn Performance Center. Get out of here with that. But WrestleMania will be taking place at the Performance Center. Most likely what they're going to do, they're going to have probably as much staff as possible, try to fill up the crowd, try to fill up all those seats to make it feel like a wrestling event. Superstars have been posting on their social media about, even though this is an unfortunate situation, they're going to do their best to give you the best wrestling show possible, to give people, family, fans, the best show they can, and hopefully give people something to smile about in terms of everything going around with this outbreak. I really got to give it up to the WWE superstars. They have been really professional in all of this, especially WWE superstars. Like, WrestleMania only comes once a year. Some families, friends, there's some people that go to WrestleMania every year, and there's others that only get to go once in their entire lives. WrestleMania tickets are not cheap. People that buy travel packages, hotels, all that money is down the drain. I'm hoping they get their refunds, but I have no idea how, especially WWE, all the money they spent. This is millions and millions of dollars we're talking about that WWE has to spend each year in preparation for WrestleMania. And now we're getting none of that, and it sucks. This is not just WWE, this is the entire world. In any other situation, we would be blasting WWE for having WrestleMania at the Performance Center. And I still have some problems with it. In my opinion, WrestleMania should be happening at all. They should just either postpone it or cancel it altogether. Because I don't care. You're still advertising. You're still billing it as WrestleMania. Right? You saw it. They have the graphics. They have everything. Even though it's not taking place in Raymond James Stadium anymore, they're still advertising it as WrestleMania. And it's not WrestleMania at the end of the day. It's going to be a pay-per-view in the Performance Center. I think it's not WrestleMania. I wish they could change it to anything else. Call it the Showcase of the Immortals, or call it, I don't know, Super Showdown, or Crown Jewel for all I care. Call it anything else. Don't call it WrestleMania, because at the end of the day, it's not WrestleMania. 10, 15 years down the line, you think they're going to be making documentaries about this? You think when they make WrestleMania video packages, they're going to show videos and images of this year's WrestleMania inside the Performance Center? They're not, because this is only happening because we're in a pandemic situation, all right? And in my opinion, WrestleMania should not be happening at all. I'm glad that Vince didn't try to, make WrestleMania happen in the stadium, because there was a lot of reports of Vince being very selfish, and he's still kind of being selfish, because instead, WWE has been reported already. Most WWE officials believe WrestleMania should just be postponed or canceled altogether. This is coming from Vince or Kevin Dunn, the higher ups in the company, the people with the most power when it comes to decision making. This is coming from Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, those higher ups. They're the ones that are making this decision that continue going with the WrestleMania plans. All right? Honestly, this is not WrestleMania. No matter what you do in the Performance Center, yes, those superstars are going to go out and give it their all. But at the end of the day, it's not going to feel like WrestleMania. All right? It's going to just feel like a WWE show. They're billing it as WrestleMania, but I'm telling you, it's never going to feel, it's never actually going to be WrestleMania, no matter how good. It could be the best wrestling show all year, because WrestleMania is not only WWE's biggest show, it's the wrestling industry. I'm talking about all the companies, AEW, New Japan, Impact, Ring of Honor, all of them. WrestleMania represents the entire wrestling industry. And Sasha put a great post talking about it on her social media, and I really commend her for that. And we're gonna see what happens with this WrestleMania thing. I just saw this thing about Stephon Diggs going to the Bills. Wish he was going to the Patriots, but that's another conversation for another day. But still, we have all this going on, man, And it doesn't matter if you have in the Performance Center. It's not going to feel like WrestleMania. Yes, we're going to cover it here on the channel. You'll get a review. We might do a stream. Who knows? All right? We'll just have to see where we go. And this is the way it's going to be. I don't know how long things are going to be like this. This is something we've never seen before. It's history, and it sucks in a way that this is, the way things have to go. All right? I would rather just WWE just postpone or cancel WrestleMania and then just do something else. If they could still do, this event in the Performance Center, I just wish it wasn't being advertised as WrestleMania. That's my main problem of it, because this doesn't represent WrestleMania. The build for most of the matches on the card don't represent WrestleMania. It's not. And I just have to be honest about it. All right? For people out there saying, oh, yes, I understand why they're doing it, but they don't have to do it. All right? WWE's not the only company that's losing money, that's losing billions, millions of dollars over this situation. The whole world is going to suffer. All right? The economy is crashing. We're probably going to enter a recession. And it sucks, but our health and safety comes first. All right? And, the WWE superstars, they're doing their best to make things work. And I appreciate them for that. But at the end of the day, the higher-ups that are making this decision, it's not right, in my opinion. It's not right. All right? I could go on for a whole hour complaining about this. But honestly, it's not going to change. We're going to have to learn to accept it. Or, they're going to continue billing this as WrestleMania, even though at the end of the day, it's nowhere close to WrestleMania. It's not going to feel, it's going to feel so weird. When, I hope, I pray that they have a full performance in arena. If you have to put all WWE employees in there, do it. If they do an empty arena of WrestleMania, have mercy. That's all I'm going to say. Have mercy. Like, imagine Michael Cole sitting there for 6-7 hours. That's another thing. This WrestleMania show can't be 7 hours long. It can't be. It doesn't need to be. You really expect us to sit? Yes, I know there's going to be a lot of people that don't have anything better to do, because it's not like there's not much we can do outside with all the bands they're making. They don't want anybody's social gatherings. But still, I don't know. WrestleMania cannot be 6-7 hours long. They can't do that. They cannot do that. Honestly, do the big matches, all right, and then save the other matches for like a Raw or a SmackDown down the line, all right? Give us the big matches that we need, 4 hours, 5 hours max. We're not doing no 6, 7, 8 hour show. We're not, all right? Please. We have enough going on. But that's just my opinion on that. Louis P. Gucci 4, Sasha and Bailey are the worst. No, they're not. I don't know why you're coming into my chat saying that garbage. Sasha Banks is the greatest female wrestler of all time. Please, I don't want to rant about that tonight, man. You could disagree, but I'm sorry, man. Sasha Banks is the greatest of all time. Please. Even though she's not booked like it half the time, but still. But let's get into Raw tonight. Just had to go into that little spiel. So the coronavirus pandemic, this is the way it's going to be going forward. NXT TakeOver was canceled. I don't know. I don't know how things are going to go. We don't know how long this is going to go. Probably to at least sometime in April at the minimum. All right, I could definitely see this going to May, probably early June. Maybe like mid-June, that's when things start to get better. Hopefully we could do, arena shows again. Because it's so weird not having the crowd there. I'm trying to get used to it. But it's just so weird not having the live audience there. It hurts not having the live audience there. I miss them. I know you guys miss them too. Even though we complain of all these fans wasting their money to go to WWE shows. Even I'm a victim of it. I go to 1 or 2 WWE shows a year. All right, but still, it's just not the same without the crowd there. Without the fans there. It's not. The most important part of the WWE is the fans. Even though I wish Vince and the others would listen to the fans half the time. But still. Yes, I did see Amari Cooper. He did re-sign with the Cowboys. Congrats for him. Even though Dak Prescott just got, I feel bad for Dak. Everybody on the Cowboys got paid except for him, and he's the most important part. But anyway, let's get into Raw. So the show started off. You had Byron Saxton. You had Jerry King Lawler. You had Tom Phillips. They're in the ring talking about how Raw is once again into an empty arena, and they gave a little introduction of what was going to happen on the show tonight. And then Edge came out. This was outside of Stone Cold. This was probably the best part of the show. Edge came out with a beautiful promo. All right. Beautiful. There's one thing, Edge, he's been retired for about 10 years, but the guy is damn great on the mic, and he could still wrestle really well. All right, he still has it after all these years. But Edge came out. He did most of his entrance, and like I've been saying each and every single week on the Raw review, Edge and Randy Orton has been the best part of WrestleMania's build. Their match, their feud has the best story, and it's legit the thing that I care about the most going into WrestleMania. All right, I can't wait for their match. I can't wait to see what they do. But Edge came out, and I love this. On Friday, the superstars, when they were doing promos, they weren't really looking into the ring or into the camera. They were looking around the arena like there was an actual crowd in there. You actually had Edge tonight. He was looking straight into the camera, like straight like he's talking to you and me. In this case, he was, looking at the camera, talking to Randy Orton, because Randy wasn't there tonight. It was announced that Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, both of them will be there next week. So they definitely had a limited cast of superstars there tonight. But basically, I loved everything about Edge's promo. Even Beth Phoenix tweeted out that Edge drove 17 hours just to be there to do this promo tonight, which is absolutely crazy. He definitely probably could have called Vince and got a private jet. Even though I hate planes nowadays, especially after the Kobe crash. I just hate aircrafts. But still, he could have probably easily just took a private plane. But shout out to Edge, driving 17 hours to cut this promo. But Edge kicked off the show, and, they showed a video package of everything that's happened between Edge and Orton, including last week's attack when MVP was there, and, the RKO, Beth Phoenix, all that stuff. Like I said, this has been the best build of any of the WrestleMania matches so far. So then Edge mentioned, the connection that him and Randy Orton have, how he met Randy Orton when he was a little kid with his father, Cowboy Bob Orton, all those years ago. He talked about how they had the connection with Mick Foley, and how Mick Foley taught him grit, something that Orton never learned. I love this promo, man. That is true grit. Edge driving 17 hours. I'm just thinking about how crazy that is. And the most I've ever drove it in one day is 10 hours. 17, absolutely crazy. Edge went on to say, "This isn't love. You don't love me, Randy. You're jealous because you can't do what I do, and that tears you apart." Edge talking about his comeback after 9 years. He also mentioned how the reason why Beth Phoenix was there a couple weeks back was to announce that Edge was going to retire for a second time. Even though that's not true, this was just for storyline purposes, but I like that. They also went back to how this all started. This did not all start after the night after the Rumble. This started at the Royal Rumble. Remember, Edge and Randy Orton, they teamed up for a little bit at the Royal Rumble. Even Randy Orton teased a rated RKO reunion, but instead Edge decided to throw Randy Orton out of the ring. That's where this all started. Randy Orton got jealous. All right, I loved how they mentioned that. And, this promo was absolutely beautiful. Fantastic promo. And then Edge, the whole time, staring into the camera. And then he got really up close to the camera. And then he said he issued the challenge to Randy Orton for a last man standing match at WrestleMania. All right, great. We all knew there was going to be some kind of stipulation with this match at WrestleMania. We all knew that. All right, let's not act surprised here. It was just what it was going to be. We know that most likely Taker versus Styles, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is most likely going to be something like a casket match, some kind of gimmick match. Now we have Orton and Edge in a last man standing match. I'm really excited about that. It's going to be interesting to see what they do in a last man standing match, because remember, they're performing in the Performance Center. But definitely, look at the Johnny Gargano Tommaso Ciampa brawl. Incredible. They could probably do something like that. They don't have to have the match, primarily in the ring. They can have the match outside the ring if they want. They can do it backstage. Like I said, I don't want the one thing that I'm worried about. I don't want all WrestleMania to be inside the ring. I want to see some backstage stuff. And I hope that allows for that, because that Performance Center space it's small. It's not the biggest space in the world. Even though WWE superstars, they can do their stuff in the ring still. And luckily, we should be kind of grateful that we have the Performance Center, because if they didn't, we would probably have nowhere else to do these WWE shows. All right, but Edge made the challenge. Randy Orton will be there next week, so we'll expect a Randy Orton response. They'll probably save an Edge and Randy Orton confrontation probably for the week before. Because we're at 316. WrestleMania, it's supposed to be the 5th. We have 2 more weeks. So the way I see it, we have next week, the 23rd, Orton comes back. The 30th will be the go-home show of Raw. So I expect Orton and Edge to both be on that show. And then we have WrestleMania on the 5th. All right? So definitely 2 weeks to go. Next up after this, before that, they had Becky Lynch show up in a truck. She was driving a truck, and it was a truck that had Becky Lynch's the man thing on the hood. They had pictures of her all over the thing. It looked like a pretty damn cool van, but it was her making her arrival to the arena. And I saw people like, oh, this is the most badass thing Becky's ever done. Becky's most badass moment, probably the greatest, what will probably go down as the greatest moment for her career outside of winning the Raw and SmackDown Women's titles at WrestleMania, was the Survivor Series attack. That was the night when the man was truly born. The bloody nose when she attacked Raw, that was an incredible moment. Incredible moment. This was not her baddest moment. The truck looked cool, but the thing about it is, it felt forced and cringe to me, because not only was it 316 day, it felt like, once again, WWE trying to force Becky Lynch as Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they did that again at the end of the show when Stone Cold came out, which we'll talk about a little bit later. If you guys know me, my two favorites of all time for the men are John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin. For the females, it's Sasha Banks. I like Becky Lynch a lot. Like I said, she soured a lot for me over the last couple months with some of her attitude and, just her disappointing Raw Women's Championship reign. I don't hate Becky Lynch. Deep down, I still like her, but she's just not the same. Remember, it was a couple years ago when I would sit on here with my boy Moose doing this podcast, and I would rant, about how Becky Lynch wasn't being pushed. All right? I don't hate Becky Lynch at all. I just don't like the way she's being booked. The last couple of weeks, though, she's being booked a little bit more closer to the man that she's supposed to be. Last week with that great promo, and, she did, okay tonight. Even though I didn't like this, because it feels to me like they're forcing Becky Lynch to be the man, or to be, the modern-day Stone Cold Steve Austin, when she's not. All right? Because how many times? Look at it. Go back into WWE history. I saw this like a couple weeks ago. I watched the top 10 of Stone Cold's craziest moments. How many times Stone Cold brought a truck, or a beer truck, or a Bambonzi, a monster truck? Like over 10 times. It was his thing. This was Stone Cold's thing. Bringing the truck, bringing the craziness to Raw. All right? And now they have Becky Lynch doing it. It's nowhere close to the level, that Stone Cold did it, but it just feels forced. It feels forced. The black attire, everything. It just feels like they're forcing Becky Lynch as Stone Cold. If like you had Becky Lynch and The Rock have that segment on SmackDown on Fox's opening back in October. Now you have this with Stone Cold. It just feels forced to me. All right, people are gonna say they loved it, of course, because they're Becky Lynch marks. but it just feels forced for me. You guys know I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. All right. Afterwards, you come back from break and they give us a replay of the men's Royal Rumble match. This took like almost close to an hour and a half of the show. I didn't watch this at all. Because you guys remember on SmackDown on Friday, we had the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match from the Elimination Chamber. They give us a replay of that. I was not going to sit by and watch this show or watch this. Like, no. Like, yes, the men's Royal Rumble match wasn't even that bad. You know, with Brock Lesnar demolishing everybody and then Drew McIntyre coming in and then Edge's return. Like, this was not a bad men's Royal Rumble. I just, like, if I want to watch this again, I'm going to go to the WWE Network. It seems like this is going to be a common theme. Because let's be honest here. They're having these empty arena shows. You know, we're not going to get a bunch of matches. Because why would we? Right? And, you know, this is what I would do. If you're not going to give us matches. Because, of course, this is an empty arena setting. Well, this is what I would do. Freaking... why don't you show some historic matches? Give me Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25. That's what made, other than Sasha Banks and Bayley and Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano at NXT TakeOver New York. That's my favorite match of all time. Show us some historic WrestleMania matches. You know, give me a John Cena versus The Rock, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. All right, or give me a Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar. Give me some historic matches. Maybe, you wouldn't lose all your viewership if you're giving us matches that we legit just saw last month at the Elimination Chamber or the Royal Rumble. Give us matches that, some people haven't seen. Or just give us some of the best matches in WWE history. That will probably keep our interest. You know how many times, when I'm bored at night or during the day, especially now that we're all at home because of this virus, that I just go back on WWE Network and just watch historical matches. Like, give us that instead of giving us these matches that we just saw a couple weeks ago that we don't want to see again. Come on, give us some historic matches. Why not? Why not? But they give us the men's Royal Rumble match again. We come back and we get ready for the Undertaker AJ Styles contract signing. All right. Yes, Sasha Banks versus Bayley at NXT TakeOver. I agree with you, bro. But we come back and they prepare us for the Undertaker AJ Styles contract signing. Jerry the King Lawler's in the ring. They have an announce table, or they have a table all set. The Undertaker's music coming on. And I was like, they're not going to give us a full Undertaker entrance with no crowd. Like, let's not be stupid. You think we're going to watch Undertaker make a 2-minute walk to the ring? No. Instead, we got quite possibly the quickest Undertaker entrance ever. The gongs go off, and, you have the smoke and everything. I was surprised that they still gave us pyro on this show. They gave us pyro for Edge, Becky, and Undertaker's entrances. But Undertaker came flying out. He wasn't wearing a shirt. He was just wearing maybe like black pants, boots. He had a black beanie on. His hair was braided. This looked very similar to me to Big Evil or American Badass Undertaker. The first thing that came to my mind is, okay, we've had AJ Styles cut that, probably the best promo I've ever seen AJ Styles cut in WWE. You had that go on last week. So why don't we do something like AJ Styles, he called out Taker talking about his wife, talking about how his real name is Mark, and all these other things, and now he's a beaten, battered old man. He's not the Phenom anymore. Why don't you do something like, I've been hearing for years that, about rumors of a potential Undertaker American Badass return. This would be the perfect year to do it. You got AJ Styles, talking about the Undertaker's humanness, and how Undertaker has embraced. He has social media. Because remember back in the day, not once would anybody ever mention Undertaker's real name. They would do it for any other superstar, but they would never, ever dare mention Undertaker's real name. Undertaker's private life, you would not know anything of it because he was so good at his job. He was so good at living the Undertaker gimmick inside and outside of the ring. So I was like, okay, you have the Undertaker. He's not wearing the cape. He's not wearing the hat. This would be the perfect feud to bring back American Badass Undertaker. It would add another layer to the story. And slowly they're getting me to care more and more about this story. All right, there's been rumors saying that we could get Undertaker versus AJ Styles in a casket match. I'm not against that. Maybe give us a street fight or a no holds barred, something like that. I believe there should be some kind of stipulation. They're not gonna straight up wrestle a match, especially with everything AJ Styles has said. Taker has barely said nothing. Taker came out to the ring and he was mad because he wanted to sign the contract right away, and he was just circling the ring, and he was pissed. And I actually like this. I like the way they did this segment, But the thing is, you could really feel there's no crowd on the show. You like just the fact of having Undertaker in the ring. Whew, this would have been so good if this was in a live crowd. This segment would have been so much better. But having the Undertaker pacing around the ring, like that, furious. Everyone talk about Undertaker not in his normal gimmick clothes. That would have been great. But you could really feel that sense of not having a crowd. But this was not the Phenom. This was more American Badass Taker. So then AJ Styles, his music played twice but never came out. Then Styles appears on the video screen, Titantron, whatever you want to call it, with Gallows and Anderson. And he talked about how he had the contract in hand. He called the Undertaker a shell of his former self and even offered to pay for his assisted living after WrestleMania. I really like that line. Really showing, Undertaker, he is old. The guy's in his 50s, still going at it. That was a really cool line. Offering to pay for his assisted living. Then, Styles was like, you brought this on yourself when you got into OC business not once but twice. First at the Super Showdown, then in Styles' Elimination Chamber no DQ match with Aleister Black just last week. So then Styles signed the contract, and then in a classic heel move, he gave the contract to Gallows and Anderson, who were very reluctant to deliver the contract to Taker, but ultimately they did. You can see how Gallows and Anderson are basically Styles' bitches, his minions. So then Gallows and Anderson, their music plays, they come out, and then they slowly pace to the ring, and they try to give Taker the contract without getting in the ring. But then Taker, the lights went up, and then a couple seconds later he appeared right behind Gallows and Anderson, and he beat them down without much of a fight. Once again, making Gallows and Anderson, who are supposed to be the best tag team in the world, look like absolute jobbers, absolute loser. Yep, they're the best tag team in the world, all right. They keep losing every single week, but yet they're the best tag team in the world. Great job there, WWE. So Undertaker beat them around the ring, and then he signed the contract. Then he took the contract, crumbled it up, and shoved it in Anderson's mouth, which was pretty cool. And then he walked up the ring, and he gave Styles a deadly stare, who was watching on through the video screen. Wasn't a bad segment at all. I hope, we get, what's his name? I hope we get Badass Undertaker at WrestleMania, or whatever you want to call it. I hope we get American Badass. We don't need to get like the motorcycle, but having Taker come out like with the bandana, the jeans, maybe even the vest, I would really like it. And we don't know. This could be Styles, or not Styles. This could be Taker's final WrestleMania. The guy is getting old, but I don't know. But definitely, I would really like for them to go this Badass Undertaker route. I don't know where they go with the story from here, because really Styles has, other than his promo, Styles has no momentum. Undertaker is legit had the upper hand throughout this entire feud. But it wasn't a bad segment. I feel like it would have been much better if we had a live crowd, but because of the circumstances, we'll just have to take what we get. So it wasn't a bad segment all in all. Next up, we had Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien in a non-title match. This was the only match we got in the empty arena tonight. We did have the replay of the Men's Royal Rumble match from earlier this year, but in terms of live action, this was the only match we got on tonight's show. I didn't watch this match at all because we've seen Mysterio and Andrade so many times, and yes, they kill it each time, but I just really didn't feel the need to watch this show. But Rey Mysterio didn't win. He won the 619 and won with a top rope splash. So I don't know if this means we'll get Mysterio versus Andrade for the U.S. Championship at WrestleMania, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, what I heard, it was a good match, especially with them not having no crowd. Like I said, if you can have a good match in front of a crowd, that's how you know you're good at your job. And these two have had, very good matches by the year. This was a very paint-by-numbers version of the match Mysterio and Andrade have had before and done much better. They're handcuffed, of course, because there's no audience to, feed off it. But still, a match in an empty arena is better than most of the matches we get on WWE TV these days. We'll just have to wait and see. I thought they were going to do maybe like a fatal four-way with Andrade, Garza, Mysterio, and Humberto, but who knows at this point. We'll just have to wait and see. We still have about, a couple more weeks till Mania. Next up, we had Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch gave a promo. She took over. This was a good promo, all right? This was the second week when Becky Lynch gave a strong promo. Still, I have my issues with Becky Lynch. I don't like how they're trying to make her look like the Stone Cold when she'll never be on that level, even though she's good at what she does most of the time. And I like how Becky's treating this seriously. You had Shayna bury the entire women's division at Elimination Chamber, where her only real competition in that division, we thought it was Asuka, but she beat Asuka in 3 minutes. Her only real competition in that division is, Charlotte and Becky, to be honest. But still, Becky is, she's ramping up the heat, even though by the time WrestleMania comes around, this would have been it would have been 2 months since Becky had defended her title. But hey, no one's going to say anything because they love Becky Lynch, right? Right? Please. But basically, she went on talking about, because she said basically what she does drives Baszler mad because, Shayna has been able to bully her way to the top, but Becky, as the man, she was the one woman tired of being the hunted, and she turned it around on those who preyed on her, which is kind of true. Then she vowed to defeat Baszler and retain her title. All right, and Shayna was there, but she didn't say anything. She was just watching from a backstage monitor. I would have minded maybe a backstage brawl between the two, or maybe Shayna come out to give some kind of response. We'll have to wait and see. I'm on the bet we'll probably get a response from Shayna next week. I'll be surprised if we see Becky next week because there's really no need for her to be. She gave her promo tonight. So maybe we'll see Shayna give a response next week, but we'll just have to wait and see about that. But this was a good promo. This was a really good promo. This is the Becky Lynch that we should have always gotten. The last 2 weeks she's come out, she did her thing. This is the Becky Lynch we fell in love with. This is the Becky Lynch that was originally the man. She's fallen off, but at least I can appreciate how she's coming back into herself here. Next up, we had Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was interviewed backstage by Charlie Caruso. Kevin Owens looks directly in the camera, and he issued a challenge to Seth Rollins for a match at WrestleMania. He said that basically the Performance Center was the perfect place for this match to take place because, of his history at the facility, and how much he's learned here. He said this is basically like a second home. Kevin Owens talked about how he had his second tryout here, and I kind of like how they added that little nugget, because even though I don't agree with WrestleMania taking place at the Performance Center, I wish they would call it something else, because this isn't WrestleMania no matter how you slice it. Still, these WWE superstars, they're going to go out and they're going to give it their all, especially to entertain us, to put a smile on our faces. And, I hope they deliver, and in either way. And especially since, so many of these superstars today came from the Performance Center. Sasha Banks, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Kevin Owens, Baron Corbin. The list goes on and on and on. So definitely this is going to, even though WrestleMania is not taking place in a huge stadium this year, they're still going to go out and hopefully perform like it was in a stadium. And I can really appreciate that. No matter how much I bitch and moan about it, I have to appreciate the fact that the superstars are still out there giving their all, and trying to do the best in, this huge, wild situation. But this was a really good promo. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not excited for Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. To be honest, it doesn't really need to take place at this WrestleMania. All right, like I said, we don't need 15 matches. We don't need an 8-hour show. All right, but still, the promo was good. I'm not excited for a Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins match. All right, I don't know what they're gonna do because it's basically 1-on-4. I don't know, like the Viking Raiders and these other guys are gonna be out there having Owens' back. We'll just have to wait and see. But hey, it's whatever. But this is definitely just a setup. Kevin Owens to finally get his revenge on Seth Rollins. He hasn't been able to defeat them yet, and now this is just setting up for him to finally get his revenge. Last but not least, we had Stone Cold Steve Austin. You guys know how much I love Stone Cold. All right. Stone Cold came out, he did his regular entrance. He went to the four corners, did his fist. He had a couple beers during his entrance. It was like he was already kind of drunk before the show had started. But this was in Celebration 316. Throughout the night, they were showing some of Stone Cold's greatest moments, and basically this was all about Stone Cold explaining what 316 Day is. He a lot of NFL news. Hopefully Tom Brady stays with the Pats. I keep getting Bleacher Report notifications. Yeah, probably. Yeah, Joe. They're most likely gonna have the employees sit there to try and make it feel like an actual show. But then Stone Cold basically showed or was explaining what 316 actually was. What is 316 Day. And it wasn't a bad promo, but what this shows is how much Stone Cold feeds off the crowd. Because there's so much crowd engagement in his promos when he talks about "give me a hell yeah," and when he does the "what" chants. And I love Stone Cold, but it just felt, like I said, I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. Stone Cold Steve Austin, man, he's one of the greatest of all time, and the fans love him. So much of his gimmick, comes from the crowd engagement. It doesn't matter. You can give Stone Cold a bad promo, but he can make use of it unless he's drunk. And you could tell he was a little bit drunk about this. So basically, he was drinking beer, and then he had like a bunch of cards talking about what 316 Day means. And he talked about including how a four letter words being acceptable. After each card, Byron Saxton scored them. And Austin kept claiming this was a tough crowd. So you guys know I don't really like Byron Saxton. The guy's cringe to me. The guy's like I love Craig Sager. He's the Craig Sager of WWE. The guy does not know how to dress. Byron Saxton, I wish I could go to his closet and burn his suits. I don't know who dresses him. The guy does not know how to match. I would go into his closet and burn every single piece of clothing he had. All right, and I would hook him up with Steve Harvey and have that guy fix him up. Saxton does not know how to dress, and he's cringe on as a commentator. He graded some of them 10, some of them 9, some of them 8, and then at the end he actually gave a couple of them 5. So afterwards, Stone Cold, and like I said, it was so weird for Stone Cold to do this because with no crowd, it just felt weird. But so then Saxton comes out to the ring, and they have a couple beers. You can see the beer getting over his suit. Like, I didn't mind it because, like I said, go burn those suits. But then he dropped Saxton with a Stone Cold Stunner. I gotta say, I know Saxton was an independent wrestler. He probably wasn't any good. Um, what up, little fettuccine, man? Good to see you. I don't see you here much anymore. Anyway, he drops. I gotta say, Saxon sold. He got two stunners, not one, but two. But he sold that stunner pretty damn well. All right, I gotta say, he sold that stunner pretty damn well. Um, but afterwards, Becky Lynch came out, and I was like, here we go. More of WWE trying to make Becky Lynch, the new Stone Cold. Yeah, I know that Stone Cold has a show on the USA Network. I remember I watched it a couple months ago. There was one where he had Becky Lynch on the show, and I remember at the end of the show, Becky actually gave Stone Cold a stunner, which was actually pretty cool. I thought they were gonna have a repeat of that on Raw tonight. Becky actually came with her own jug of beers, and she wanted to make a toast. She actually stepped on Saxon. And it was actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Even though I don't like how they're trying to make Becky look like Stone Cold, they actually toasted, and Becky was slamming beers down like she was Stone Cold. It was actually kind of cool. She was getting it all over her hair. She was wearing a little bit of makeup, and that got ruined. But it was actually, not gonna lie, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Basically, yeah, they drank beers. Close to the show. Austin gave Saxon one more stunner, and that's how the show ended. I gotta love seeing Saxon get the stunner. He did a good job selling it, but basically, this was not a bad way to end the show. You could definitely see this having more of an effect if there was a live crowd, but especially, for WWE fans who, are trying to just have a smile on their face, it was a feel-good moment to see, Becky Lynch, who people want to believe is the face of the company. I thought that for a bit, but she's not. But, one of the company's top stars with Stone Cold. It was not a bad moment. Not a bad way to close the show. But, yeah, basically other than that, guys, that's about it, really. This is Raw. I can't really sit here and say it was good or bad, because really, for right now at least, we gotta accept it for what it is. This is the way things are gonna be going forward, and it sucks, but we gotta be safe. We gotta take caution, and hopefully, down the line after a couple weeks, it's weird. It's just really weird with these empty arena shows, but it's better than nothing. Like I said, I'm still against the idea of WrestleMania taking place at the Performance Center. I just wish they would call it something else. But at this point, we're going to have to deal with it. I'm going to cover it, of course. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But let me know in the comment section. I want to thank you guys for joining me here on the Legit Shoot podcast for the Raw review. I hope you guys are staying safe from the coronavirus. Do not go outside. All right, guys, take these safety measures. Stay inside. Wash your hands. Sanitize, man. Because you guys take these little steps, the quicker this will all be over. We can all go back to our normal lives, man. It's going to be bad in the short run, but definitely if we all just stay safe, things will get much, much better, all right? Hope you guys stay safe with your families. God bless, man. Thank you guys for joining me here tonight. Enable notifications by clicking the bell next to my name, FitzMonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. If you guys haven't yet, check out my SmackDown review. It is up on the channel right now. I'll be back here on Friday for another Empty Arena SmackDown review. And yeah, WrestleMania, it's happening, unfortunately. But still, we'll get through this together, all right? Thank you guys for the love and support. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description down below. Check out all my other content. Got a bunch of gaming. Got some anime reactions. Go check that out, all right? Thank you guys for the love and support. I'll see you guys later. Peace.